It's been a pleasure getting to meet all y'all. I've heard so much about you, and I just want to say that, going to the ranch since, let's see, my first time was in 2009. I got to hear all about Papa Gene and Mama Joy and their sacrifice and everything that their life has meant, and I just see it as an honor and a privilege to be able to be associated with the Johnstons. So it's been just a pleasure meeting y'all tonight. Some of you for the first time, and I look forward to getting to know you even more, where the personalities and the stories can come out. I really look forward to that. So
I've gone through all picture books and told them all of your names.
And I'm still working on the names, so you'll have to forgive me if I don't remember tomorrow, but I'm still working on it.
So are we, Payne.
Yeah, great. Well, I guess I'll share our story.
How did we meet?
How did we meet? Okay. Well, believe it or not, we met at JH Ranch. Yeah. Surprise, surprise. In 2010, and I was a lowly grass cutter, and I met Mallory, the princess of the ranch. And I was actually looking back through my journal the other day, and back then I was a man of few words, and for one day, the whole entry was, Mallory Johnston is awesome. And that was it. And, but there weren't sparks yet. We were just really good friends, and I don't know, we just kind of hit it off. And she actually was dating someone at the time, so it wasn't even a thought. Yeah. So that spring rolls around, and so after that summer of 2010, I go into my freshman year at Ole Miss, which is in Oxford, Mississippi. And I didn't hear from Mallory until that spring, and she invited me to a formal at her college at Auburn, which was 5 hours away, and actually still also had a boyfriend at the time, but he wasn't able to come all the way from California, so I was just a friend. Well, it happened to be perfect timing for me, and it was like as startling as if a brick were to hit you in the head. It was like, wow, this girl is amazing. And I actually drove away. I was with one of my best friends, Matthew Nicholas, and we were driving back to Oxford, and I remember looking at him and saying, I want to marry Mallory or someone exactly like her. And looking back on it, it was such a God thing. He just did something in my heart that weekend and that day to be just incredibly confident about what I wanted. But like I said, she was taken, so I had to wait. And didn't text her, didn't call her, didn't initiate until that summer. Mallory was at the ranch. I was back in Jackson, Mississippi, working a construction job. Wasn't the most fun summer of my life. And Mallory Skyped me with one of my good friends, Bobby Peterson. And I noticed kind of a funny look in her eye. But I was like, okay, don't get your hopes up. She's still taken. Just play it cool. And so 2 weeks went by. Bobby called me 2 weeks later and was like, hey, when we talked, she was a single girl. I was like, Bobby, don't mess with me. Because he was kind of, he's a kidder. You'll get to meet him. He'll be the life of the party. You will see Bobby Saturday. And so I thought he was kidding with me. So I was like, Bobby, serious. I was starting to get mad at him. I was like, don't mess with me. And he was like, no, I promise, she's single. So that was the best news of my life so far. And I remember where I was standing. I remember the lighting. I remember everything. So then that, after that summer, I started to kind of be intentional and talk to her every week. And that was the very beginning of what would be a marathon. Slow and steady, but it's paid off. We talked and we're just friends for another year. And until I had my interview with Mr. Bruce, until Mallory was ready, it was like, okay, I think I'm ready to be more than friends. You can talk to my dad now. So I remember that. I drove to Birmingham and met Mr. Bruce in Birmingham at their previous house. And we had a nice, slow car ride all the way to Auburn, which it's normally about 2 hours, 15 minutes. I think it ended up being like 3 hours. We were going, speed limit was like 55 miles an hour. We were going like 25. And yeah, it was a great talk. It was put everything on the table, my intentions and everything, and you know, where I was headed, what I was planning on. At the time, I was planning on doing pre-med, and I remember him being like, "Well, it's gonna be a while before you can provide for my daughter. You know, by my calculation, it'll be like roughly 9 or 10 years before you're actually making something." I was like, maybe I ought to reconsider. And it was a step in the right direction. And that spring, I changed my direction, and Mallory was ready to date, and we got the okay from Mr. Bruce, and we started dating 2012 Christmas Eve, and it became Facebook official Christmas Day. So that was my Christmas present of that year. And since then, the battle was just to finish up college, and it took me 4.5 years. And after I finished college, I wasn't sure what I was going to do, but as I was finishing up, it became clear that really the desire of my heart, even before I met Mallory, which is kind of a cool part of our story, I have just always desired to be a part of the ranch. And really my testimony comes from that summer in 2009 when I first went, and just God did a deep work in my heart every time I've gone. You know, I've been on summer staff for a couple of summers, and so anyway, after I graduated college, I was just, that thing had always been, had remained there in my heart, just this desire to be a part in a very significant way of JH Ranch. And so after I finished college, I decided that I wanted to step in full time. So I've been working since January. I work with Gloria and Mallory in the off season doing host family, which is a lot of promotional stuff. We get to travel to people's homes and hear about what the Lord is still doing in their life from JH Ranch and promoting to people who've never heard it before. And proposed this past spring because, you know, I had a job and income and I could, and getting married on Saturday. So that's my perspective. Mallory's is a little bit different.
That's great.
Yeah.
Are there questions?
Yes.
We want to hear from your perspective.
What's your perspective?
Yeah.
I didn't have that much of a different perspective. I just wanted to take my time when we first started to get to know each other. We were both in college, and I had just gotten out of another relationship, and I just saw a long time ahead of us, and Payne was figuring out what he was doing, so we just stayed friends for a really long time. And I don't know, it was really great because when we finally decided to date, we actually knew that we wanted to marry each other, and so we knew what we were getting into. So my yes was a yes towards what I knew him to be. So anyways, it's been also, I mean, Payne, I didn't actually expect to ever marry a Southern guy because I've kind of been half and half in California, and I feel like part of me is kind of California and part of me is adapted to the South, so I kind of expected to marry someone maybe from California. But Payne was just a real pleasant surprise for me and has an incredibly Southern family that I never thought I'd be a part of. And it's just been a huge blessing. I mean, there's so many things to offer from each side, and there's just so much that Payne has brought to the table in our relationship. And the best part is that we get to work together, and during the summertime we actually lead Challenge, which is our junior high program at the ranch, and that's been so much fun because our dream has been to get to work together and do something together. So we led that for the first time this summer, and it was just such a blast. Kingston came through. He was our first guinea pig session. So yeah. So that's kind of my perspective, I guess.
What attracted you to Payne?
The hair.
The
It was the hair.
Sorry, it's the hair. You got the awesome curly hair.
Yeah.
It was much longer when she met me.
It was.
Like shoulders.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was. I cut his hair now, actually.
Looks very cute.
Yeah.
Mallory didn't start dating him until she cut his hair. So.
No. Well, I think I remember when I first met, this is kind of actually a funny story, but most of y'all met James, who I dated before, who lived in California. And when I was dating him at the time that summer that Payne was first working on staff, I remember telling James just like, hey, let's be intentional about getting to know other staff this summer just to like build relationships. And so I was like, how about I choose someone for you to get to know and you choose someone for me to get to know, and that way we can be intentional. And so I told him, I was like, I want you to get to know Payne. He is so
That's really funny.
And I don't know, Payne just like, he was just a spark of life and joy, and first he just had such an eagerness to grow and to learn, and he was on grass his first summer, but like every meal he was on grass. He was on the grounds crew doing grass the first summer.
I'm from Oregon.
Yeah.
Yeah, come on.
I was cutting grass.
He was cutting the grass the first summer. Yeah, and
Mowing.
mowing the grass the first summer, and he just had an eagerness just to grow and to learn, and every minute I saw him, he was like with full-time staff wanting to get to know their families and wanting to just glean from everyone, and there was just a real hunger there that I just loved about him, and he was just a kind person and just real fun to be around and great, and
he was on grass.
yeah. So,
Were you intentional
yeah,
about
there was
being on
just-
grass?
So, anyways, there was a lot of characteristics that really drew me to him, but there was obviously something there that I pointed him out of everyone. So, yeah, they're not friends anymore. They didn't really get that close that summer. So.
We were friends.
Yeah, they were friends, but it wasn't dramatic or anything. Yeah, so we're just glad that y'all are here, and it's so exciting to get to celebrate with family, and we've been waiting for this day for a long time. We've been dating for almost 3 years now, almost.
And friend zone
For
2 for that.
yeah, so we've been,
Are you going to the fun
we've
zone?
known for
Just saying. Yeah.
So it's just time. It's just time to get married, and we're just so glad that everyone's here to celebrate with us. And we have another wedding to celebrate too. And I wish Melinda and Christopher could have been here,
Two.
and Judy and the rest of them. So y'all will get to celebrate them tomorrow night. So
Yes.
this is a weekend of celebration. So.
Double feature.
Yes,
Double
yes,
feature.
and a time to reconnect with everyone. So thank y'all so much.
Thank y'all for listening. Thanks for staying awake for us.
You guys are so cute. I can't handle it.